Hello and welcome to Byju's Exam Prep IAS. Welcome to the big news. The topic for today's discussion, India UAE relations. Before we understand what this topic is all about, a gentle reminder about Target Prelims 2022. As part of this initiative, our tomorrow's session would be with respect to Indian economy, so please do tune in from 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. This session will be handled by Sham sir. Let's get started and try and understand what is this topic all about. Why are we discussing about India and UAE relationship? That is because UAE President Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed has passed away. Under the UAE's constitution, the vice president will act as an interim president, and in all likelihood, his brother Abu Dhabi's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed will be seen as the future president in UAE. In this particular backdrop, we have to understand some of the contributions made by the president, and we will also understand the India UAE relationship in this particular picture. When we look at the contributions made by the president, he was the president of United Arab Emirates from the year 2004. He has made larger contributions. Because of him, large scale investments have come to UAE, and it is also said that all the technological innovations, and when it comes to the space technology, it was his realm, his passion, which also put UAE forward. In this case, the world's tallest tower in the UAE's Emirate of Dubai is named as Burj Khalifa after the late ruler. As a result of the sad demise of the president of UAE, the Indian government in this regard has announced one day state mourning. We have the Prime Minister of India who goes on to say, and I quote, I am deeply saddened to know about the passing away of HH Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed. He was a great statesman and visionary leader under whom India UAE relations prospered. The heartfelt condolences of the people of India are with the people of UAE. May his soul rest in peace, says the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi. As a result, we have to understand the India and UAE relationship on three broad parameters. One is in terms of economic relationship, second is in terms of security and defense cooperation, the third is in reference to the role of Indian diaspora in the United Arab Emirates. First, let us have a look at the economic prosperity. When we speak about economic relationship between India and United Arab Emirates, India happens to be the second largest trading partner for the United Arab Emirates, and at the same time, United Arab Emirates happens to be the third largest trading partner for India. What are the major exports from India to United Arab Emirates? India's major exports to the UAE include petroleum products, precious metals, stones, gems and jewelry, minerals, food items, textiles, engineering and machinery products and chemicals. And when it comes to imports from United Arab Emirates, it includes petroleum and petroleum products, precious metals, stones, gems and jewelry, minerals, chemicals, wood and wood products. So in this backdrop, India and United Arab Emirates also felt that they have to expand on number of economic cooperation treaties as well as trade related issues. So what do? They enter into one of the cooperation agreements called as the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. So what is this Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement? This was recently signed between India and United Arab Emirates, which gives a further boost to the already existing bilateral relationship in terms of the economic cooperation. One of the main aims and the parameters of this particular agreement was to increase the bilateral non-oil merchandise trade in the next 5 years. What is it the SEPA will do? It will encourage bilateral investments in the labor intensive sector like the textiles industry, gems and jewelry industry, leather goods and footwear, food processing, so that both the countries would be able to benefit from this particular agreement. So this will give a boost to the Indian exports. How will it give a boost to the Indian exports? Under the SEBA, about 90% of the products from India will be provided what is called as a zero duty. What do we understand by zero duty? As of now, there are something called as the tariff barriers and the non-tariff barriers. What are the tariff barriers? Tariff barrier basically means that whenever a particular country is exporting its product to another country, in such a case, taxes will be imposed by that particular country. Let's assume for a moment India is exporting textiles. So for a product that is being sent from India to United Arab Emirates, about 5% of the taxation was imposed. What would happen under this particular issue? There would be multiple other countries as well which would also be exporting textile products. For example, we have Vietnam. For example, we have Bangladesh. These countries had already entered into agreements with United Arab Emirates. As a result, whenever you place these three products together, because of the import duties, because of the duties that are imposed, because of the tariffs that are imposed on the Indian products, they would comparatively not work because it would be quite costly. So what would happen right now? Under this particular agreement, zero taxes will be imposed, which means there'll be no taxes, zero duty on these products, and as a result, India would be able to export number of products. For example, as I just told you, one of the competitive areas happens to be the textile and the garments industry, and earlier Vietnam and Bangladesh garments were able to make prominent benefits in United Arab Emirates. With this agreement in picture, what we will be able to expand is on the Indian exports, especially with the textile industry. This is one such example. Similarly, there are many other products like the gems, so on and so forth, which can also be exported to United Arab Emirates, and ultimately what we will have is much better purchasing power in United Arab Emirates, and we would be able to expand our Indian exports. The zero duty access for the Indian exports is further expected to expand in the next 5 to 10 years. As of now, there are a limited number of goods, but in the next 5 to 10 years, this will be further expanded. So some of the sectors that will include are the gems and the jewelry, textile industry, leather industry, footwear industry, engineering goods, automobiles and pharmaceuticals. All these industries as of now will have zero duty charge, that is no taxation, and in the near future more products will also be added as part of this initiative. But do note, certain other areas such as those that have seen sharp growth in the domestic production, or areas where the government is incentivizing manufacturing through production linked incentive schemes, have also been excluded from this particular agreement. The Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement is the first bilateral trade agreement in the Middle East and North African region. As a result, this agreement will ease similar agreements with other Gulf Cooperation Council countries, for example, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, Oman, and Bahrain. As of now, we do not have these agreements, but in the near future, because we have set up this initial step, because we have started something conducive with United Arab Emirates, it can also become a blueprint for other countries in the near future. It will also provide better access to markets across this entire region, whereby we would also be able to leverage UAE's transport and logistic infrastructure as well. As of now, we do not have any such agreements, but in the near future, this can act as a blueprint where we would be able to expand with multiple other countries as well. And with this, what would happen? There'll be more investments from United Arab Emirates into India. The FDI will start following. The foreign direct investments will also start increasing in India. Apart from this, there will also be other areas of cooperation as well. One is to do with cultural cooperation, where under this particular agreement, there are steps to set up the foundation of India UAE Cultural Council, whereby both the countries would be able to have cross cultural exchanges, cultural projects, exhibitions, dialogue between the thought leaders of both the countries, and this will further increase the cooperation between both India and United Arab Emirates. They will also intend to speak about climate action and renewables as well. As of now, India is making a lot of imports when it comes to United Arab Emirates. We do import a lot of petroleum products, so on and so forth, but added to this, both the countries are planning to expand on the renewable energy sector. They are also closely working in the conference of the parties. They are also working with the International Renewable Energy Agency, and at the same time, they are also discussing parameters with respect to International Solar Alliance as well. So they intend to mitigate the impact of climate change and work on the renewable energy sector. So it is not just the petroleum product, but they are also working in the renewable energy sector as well. Both the parties have also reinforced on the hydrogen task force. India and United Arab Emirates have agreed to establish a joint hydrogen task force, whereby they want to improvise on the existing technology and also put a special focus on the production of the green hydrogen. Then we look at emerging technologies, which is about expanding the technologies and also collaborating on critical technologies. Finally, both the countries are also working towards the skilled cooperation, whereby India will have to make sure that it trains our people who are visiting to that particular country, and with changing times, we have to make sure that the future work will require require some skill set, and both these countries are looking at providing the skill set training to both Indian people as well as the people in United Arab Emirates. This is what has to do with economic cooperation. Now what we look at is the defense and security related cooperation. When we look at United Arab Emirates, traditionally it was believed to be an ally of Pakistan. But what exactly happened? There was assassination of 5 UAE diplomats in Kandahar on January 10, 2017, and this raised multiple concerns in Abu Dhabi. It is at this particular juncture Islamabad's growing isolation amongst the Islamic nations started, and it's the UAE which was playing the lead in the tectonic transformation. The United Arab Emirates was the first Islamic country to criticize the Pathankot and the Uri terror attack. It then supported India's surgical strike inside Pakistan. It is at this particular moment we cemented the relationship between United Arab Emirates and India in terms of the defense and security cooperation. When you look into the 1990s and much prior to that, you had number of people who were conducting illegal activities in India. They were also present in United Arab Emirates. They were conducting their business related issue. But since India had cemented its ties with United Arab Emirates, what exactly happened? UAE had turned into a no-go area for those looking for the safe havens in United Arab Emirates. That is when it started repatriating number of fugitives. UAE has repatriated individuals. India has accused of fomenting terror, including Indian Mujahideen operatives Yasim Patkal, Abdul Sattar, and Lashkar-e-Taiba's Abdul Karim Tunda. In the past, number of Indian fugitives like Dawood Ibrahim were able to conduct their business activities in United Arab Emirates, and all of this has been restricted now in United Arab Emirates. Further, Prime Minister Modi's August 2015 visit to United Arab Emirates had already showcased their consensus to coordinate efforts to counter radicalization and misuse of the religion. And at the same time, United Arab Emirates has also helped India keep a close watch on the Indian diaspora from getting sucked into the ultra conservative fundamentalist movements, and has also stopped them from joining the so-called Islamic State war in the Levant. In the past, during the Republic Day parade, an armed forces contingent of around 200 soldiers from the United Arab Emirates took part in the parade as well, and India also engages in multiple other cooperative activities. Bilateral defense interaction between India and United Arab Emirates have seen a continuous increase. There have been high level exchanges in terms of the service chiefs, functional level exchanges. In fact, we've also had military level educational programs between the countries. The Desert Eagle 2 happens to be one of the bilateral exercises between the Indian Air Force and the UAE Air Force, and agreements have been signed in the areas of defense, maritime security, space, civilian nuclear energy, defense manufacturing collaboration between the security agencies with an aim to fight the terrorism. Now what are we going to discuss? We will discuss about the Indian diaspora. When it comes to Indian diaspora, a large number of Indian diaspora are present in United Arab Emirates. As much as 3.5 million Indians are present in the United Arab Emirates, and it is reported that it is the largest ethnic community in United Arab Emirates, constituting about 30% of the country's population. So it is not only providing jobs to millions of people, but it is further increasing the soft power of India in United Arab Emirates. So what is the most important factor? The important factor happens to be the remittances. These are the people who go up to another country, work in that particular country, increase the relationship between India and United Arab Emirates. They not only contribute to their economy, but they also contribute to India's economy in an indirect way. How? These people work in United Arab Emirates, they get their salaries as well. This salary that they get is also remitted back to India. If we consider the statistics, according to 2018, from United Arab Emirates, we were able to get USD 13,828 million to India. Then from Saudi Arabia, it was about 11,239 million US dollars. And from the United States of America, we have also seen remittances as much as 11,715 million dollars. So when you consider all these countries, United Arab Emirates happens to be one of the largest countries where Indian diaspora are working, and they are able to send back remittances to India. It is this that we have to understand in reference to this topic. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.